We're live now.
Okay.
Can you?
So,
Yep.
is there a way that we can see?
I don't think so. Maybe on Facebook. Just look it up on your Facebook.
Okay.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I think we're good.
Right.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Okay. Okay, Anoosh, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So this is a narrative debate, Anoosh and Dhruva's guide to forming a narrative in debate utilizing narration debate by Anoosh and Dhruva. I'm Anoosh.
I'm Dhruva, and this is our narrative debate guide.
Yeah.
All right. So next slide. So what is the narrative debate, and what is life? Narrative debate is backing away from the traditional line-by-line structure, and instead of going argument or the card by card, it's focusing on the big picture rather than the small details. It's creating like a worldview that your judges, your opponents, yourself have an understanding of the arguments, so you can understand how things function within the context of the round and in the context of the world too. Because when you connect arguments to like real life applications, it's a lot easier for people to understand. And essentially what you're doing is you're framing the debate right off the start, right out of the gates in a way that puts your arguments on a pedestal. It says, hey, these are the arguments, this is why it matters in the world, and this is how you know it's true, things like that.
And basically the most important part about it, and like the thing that like this presentation is going to be like centralized on, is narrative debate is the idea that you're setting up the round so that you can win on a single case issue that you're really, really prepared on. So the round should be framed that, like, even if you lose every argument on your opponent's case, and even if they win like every turn on your case, you should still be able to win the round because your argument is essentially controlling the narrative of the debate, even if they have a bunch of blips that they can win. So yeah, that's basically like the main idea of it.
How to implement a narrative debate, a speech-by-speech breakdown. So Anoosh, do you want to start off with the constructive and brainstorming?
Yeah. So when you're like before you have anything on the topic, like before you even start writing cases, the way that you should be trying to think about it is like you want to work your way backwards. Like you should think about what the ideal final focus, like what you want your ideal final focus to look like, and then the way that you want to start brainstorming ideas is by looking for things that would fit into what you want in your final focus. So you want to focus on isolating that one issue that if you win, you can outweigh every potential argument the other side can make. So the way you do that, the first thing that you should be doing is you should be finding the most weighable impact. And it's the most weighable impact. It's not like the biggest. So it needs to be something like, it can be like something vague, something that links into the most offense, because that's how you weigh the most. So like usually like things that are vague, like vague internal links, like tensions, competition, economic instability, like those are really good weighable impacts, because no matter what your opponents run, like say they run nuke war, you can link almost all of those things into nuke war while you also have a more probable impact. So you should be focusing, and as long as you like specifically contextualize them later on in your case, you have like two paths to the ballot already from your case, the way that you link into all of your opponent's offense or also your own case, like your own impact.
Yeah, that's really well said. Like, you don't need to look for the biggest impact. You're looking for the most strategic impact, the impact that wins you the round. So you're thinking about the final focus and how you're outweighing your opponent's arguments before you even get there. Because the point of narrative is like, even if your opponents win their case, your narrative should be encompassing of theirs, and it proves to you, or proves to the judge and the opponents, I guess, like why your case and structure is a bigger issue overall in the round. All right, next slide, Anoosh.
Yeah.
So this is about like continued with the constructive idea. So once you find the biggest like impact that you can weigh, now you want to find the strongest and most weighable link into that impact, right? Remember, like you're writing this link to compare it with other links from the opposite side into similar impacts, especially on things like the Yemen topics. You should have like a link by link comparison. Like, is war always going to happen? Is war going to stop when you take away arms sale? So you want to have like the strongest link and most probable link so you can easily win that and hit that impact right on the head.
Yeah, so basically, like the rest of your case should basically centralize along this like golden link chain impact. Like you should be knowing that those two things are what you're going to be going for every round. So you can have like other links or other contentions, but you should just make sure that you're prioritizing these two. So instead of having like time sucks or distractions, you should prioritize evidence which either strengthens the weighability of your link. Like if you already have like cards in your case that frontline a lot of the responses that you know people will make, or like extra empirics, things that just make your link stronger and more weighable, like comparable to other links into the similar argument, or context and uniqueness that legitimizes the worldview that you are making the round focus on. Because like these time structs and distractions don't really matter, right? If you're not winning the part of your case that you need to be winning to win the round. So also, yeah, Dhruva, you can go.
Yeah. So also you want to make sure that you're fleshing out the warranting. Just because you're reading a narrative case doesn't exclude you from like reading the warrants into like internal warrants and warranting for a lot of stuff. In fact, reading narrative cases probably means that you should be warranting a lot more because it just strengthens your perspective. So a good rule of thumb that we came up with was if you can ask why about anything in your case and there's not a written answer, just type one in. Even if you don't have a card for something, as long as your analytical warrant is still present and links into the evidence following, you should be good on that warranting. So not dumping cards and actually fleshing out the warranting is a really good way, especially at the link level of narrative cases, to strengthen it.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Yeah, so let's talk about the rebuttal. So the first thing that you should be doing in your rebuttal is having an overview. And there's like a bunch of different kinds of overviews you can have. What you need to do is know like which kind to use when. So there's a few kinds. Like the first one is uniqueness. Like that's pretty basic. The time that you read uniqueness is if both sides are trying to win the same impact, but you have like a different links into that impact.
Yeah, so
the uniqueness.
Yeah, so an example of that would be on the UNCLOS topic from this past year. If affirmative and the negative cases are both reading China contentions, it's really important to read like uniqueness and rebuttal so you can decide which argument is more true. Are tensions going up? Are tensions going down? Is trade going up? Is trade going down? What's the status quo? What is the current state? And why do you need to prioritize voting AF or voting neg?
Yeah. The second kind of overview you can read is impact framing. So that's when you both have two different impacts, and you need to be weighing against their impact. You need to be explaining why yours is more important. So a similar example, right, on the UNCLOS topic, like we read this case about how like the South China Sea, like affirming would like cool tensions in the South China Sea. That was our impact. Other teams on the neg, they're in these arguments about how if the U.S. acceded to UNCLOS, then there would be more Arctic drilling. So that would be really bad for the environment. So the way that we would weigh our impact against that is we said that if there's tensions in the South China Sea, like that would cause a global oil spike because most of the oil in the world flows through the South China Sea. So if you cut off access there, prices go up everywhere, which means that it's way more profitable to drill, not just in the Arctic, but every country in like everywhere that they can drill. So that's how we would weigh our impact over theirs. The third kind, it's a defense wall. So you can read this like almost any round. It's just like a really defensive overview. It's new information that frames out a bunch of your opponent's arguments. So like an example of this would be on like the price control topic, for example, the drug prices topic. You could read like an overview about how lobbying would like take out the effectiveness of any like drug price legislation on big companies, and you could use that to frame your argument about why it would hurt small companies more. So it's like this kind of like overview that frames, once again, it feeds into your narrative by framing out all of your opponent's arguments and keeping yours in.
Yo, Anoosh, brand new third contentions. Very cool, right?
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, so let's talk about
second rebuttal frontlining.
Yeah.
So this is like definitely something that you should be prioritizing, because when you are speaking second, your case is the priority because that's where most of your narrative is coming from. So frontlining everything, like a lot of people say like just frontline turns and stuff, but it's super strategic for you to frontline everything, even defense, because that means that in the other team's first summary, they have to also respond to all of your front lines, or else those responses are conceded. So even if you spend